approach to the production and consumption of beverages as part of a wider scope of human activity. The majority of history books addresses the consumption of food and drinks merely as an anecdotal activity. This book is about quenching thirst. The information contained in it, which I gathered from numerous books and scholarly articles, aims at describing the development of beverages and of drinking habits, and their connection with other facets of life. This information is, in my humble view, of universal interest, even though it may digress from the reader's daily occupations. This here is a rather uncommon history book, as books on history generally tend to disregard the topic of food and drink. It also differs from cookbooks, in that the latter mainly emphasize the technical aspects of creating food. While discussing the various beverages, this book strives to uncover the sometimes hidden ways in which they relate to social behavior, business activity, and politics. Regarding bibliography, it should be noted that whereas we do have information on foods and beverages during the antiquity, little knowledge has reached us as far as the Middle Ages are concerned. The written history of beverages starts in the 14th century, thanks to a large amount of texts preserved from then onwards. There are hardly any earlier written records on this topic, and the only sources of information are medical texts and archaeological findings. Based on the sparse knowledge about the Middle Ages, we learn that the poor drank mainly water. Middle-class families could afford beer and wine, as well as better food, which they cooked themselves. Public eating facilities existed only in the form of roadhouses. We furthermore have some records, earlier than the 12th century, of official feasts and celebrations, such as wedding meals or diplomatic occasions, but with hardly any details on the actual meal. Literary sources as well are highly reticent on the types of food served during the Middle Ages and merely mention the fact that celebrations were held. Eating and drinking are simple acts performed on a daily basis, but when considering them from a historical point of view, they become complex and many-sided. We are not interested in the individual who drinks a beverage, but rather in the manner in which the individual's consumption of beverages associates with other behaviors, both at the individual and collective level. Thus, it is useful to examine the various beverages while outlining the limits of their impact. The approach illustrated in this book is to combine the detailed description of basic beverages, such as tea or coffee, with a discussion on their connection with social and public behaviors. Each of this book's chapters deals with one type of beverage and investigates how it influenced and was influenced by historical, sociological, political, and technological developments. Each discussion encompasses aspects of production as well as consumption of the relevant beverage throughout history. Chapter 1. All who are thirsty, come to the waters. 1. Ancient history. Just as with any economic product, water depends on capital investment to produce and transport it, so it comes at a price. In order to cover the cost of pumping and pipes, it has to be a significant price. There are opponents to this cost who say that drinking water is a basic right and that citizens should receive it almost free of charge. But if there is no one to pay for it, there will be no pipes or plumbing and no water in our homes. Indeed, it has always been a challenge to provide drinking water to the public, since fresh water has been a condition for the existence of any civilization since the beginning of time. Drinking water is both a physical resource and a necessity for physical existence. Failure to drink water in an arid zone means risking death. The problem is that it is a heavy resource that is difficult to package and deliver.